sewing tutorial of this beautiful inset dress. In our last tutorial, we learned how to draft the pattern. So this is actually the patterns we learned how to draft in our last tutorial. So if you've not watched that video on how to draft the pattern, you should go and watch it so that you can understand what we are doing now and so that you can join us properly. Okay, so very quickly, these are the materials we'll be needing for this beautiful dress. You need your hairstay. This is the lace material we'll be working with. You need zip and mashing thread. You need your bra cup. You need your doll face or anything that can serve as an interlining. Then you also need your skin color net. Alright, let's dive into this tutorial very quickly. So guys, this is how you are going to use your trace out pattern to cut your material. Listen and listen carefully. I want to explain how you are going to use this pattern to cut out the material. Okay, so this is actually the center front. Okay, this is the front pattern. So this will serve as the illusion part. So for this, we are going to use this to cut out the nude net. Okay, so this is the nude net. You are going to use it to cut the nude net. You are going to cut two pieces. It should be on fold. It should be on fold on this side. Okay, you are cutting it two pieces. I will use one to turn the neckline. Okay, so when I use one to turn the neckline, it will be one. I hope you understand. Then for this part, this side, you are going to cut two pieces for this. The two pieces will serve as the interlining. Okay. Then for this, you are going to cut two pieces. The two pieces will also serve as the interlining. When I say interlining is what that is going to sit under the lace. You know, the lace fabric is revealing, so interlining serve as what the lace fabric will be on top. Okay, so that both of them will serve as the main bodies. So after cutting the two pieces which will serve as the interlining, we are going to cut another two pieces and another two pieces which will serve as the lining. Lining is what you use to cover the rough edges. So I'm going to use this doll face material to cut the lining and also the interlining. So which means I'm eventually cutting this 4/4 piece which will serve as the lining and the interlining. So I've explained how you are going to cut the front pattern. Okay, so I'll put it aside. So this is the back pattern pieces. Okay, this is the upper part of the back. You are going to cut this for the nude net. So this upper part of the back, you are going to use your nude net to cut it. So you are going to cut it 4 pieces. You know, this will have zipper allowance. The zipper allowance will extend here. So 2 pieces will be for this side and 2 pieces will be for this side. You are not cutting this on fold. That is why it's 4 pieces. So I'm going to use the 1 piece to turn this side, and I'm going to use 1 piece to also turn this side. So you are cutting this with your nude net 4 pieces. I hope you understand. Okay. Then this is the remaining pattern for the back. You are cutting 2 pieces and 2 pieces for this. So it will serve as the interlining. Okay, so like I told you guys while I'm explaining the front pattern, interlining is what will be under the lace because lace is revealing. Okay, interlining serves as the main bodies. Okay, so once you cut two pieces each for the interlining, you are also going to cut another two pieces which will serve as the lining. I hope you understand this. Alright, so this is the skirt pattern that we traced out. Okay, so we are going to use this skirt pattern to cut the interlining. Okay, and the length of your interlining should be your sideways to ankle. You understand what I mean by sideways to ankle? if you watch my video on how to take measurements, but this will be shorter than the lace. Okay, they shouldn't be the same. So the side waist to ankle, what we are cutting for the interlining should be at least 3 inches shorter than the main lace. So you cut your interlining and you use it to cut out your lace. Okay, so this lace will actually be on top of the interlining. Okay, so what I mean by interlining is what will be under the lace. Okay, because the lace is revealing. You see what I mean? So once this doll face is under this lace like this, it's serving as the interlining already. Okay, so I'm going to use this skirt pattern to cut out the interlining, and the length of this interlining should be your side waist to ankle. Okay, like I told you, if you watch my tutorial on how to take proper measurements, you understand what I mean by your side waist to ankle. But this interlining should not be the same length with your lace fabric. It should be shorter by at least 3 inches. Okay, but for this tutorial, my interlining is just going to be short, so I'm going to use this pattern to cut out the interlining like that. And when I want to cut the lace, I'm just going to extend what I have here. I will extend it to my side waist to ankle. Okay, I hope you understand what I explained. If you don't understand, you always ask your question. Alright, let me cut out these materials as I show you, and I will come back to show you guys what next. So guys, for the skirt part of this dress, you can see I have put my fabric on fold and I have placed the skirt part. This is the center front, so it should be on fold. Okay, if it's the center back, you don't have to put your fabric on fold. All you have to do is to place it and cut it out. So let me explain to you how you are going to cut the interlining of the down part of this dress. So as I put this pattern on this folded fabric, I'm going to measure my side waist to ankle. Okay, so once I measure it, I'm going to connect this line, okay, with the horizontal line. And once I connect this line, I'm going to measure what I have on this part and I will put it down here. Okay, so once I put it down here, I'm going to get my ruler and connect it. So once I cut this out, I will use it to cut my lace fabric. Okay, that way this one will be under the lace fabric, serving as the interlining. Okay, but since the interlining of the down part of the skirt is going to be short, I'm just going to cut it out like this. Okay, so I'll cut it out and I will do the same thing for the back. I hope you understand that. Okay, so once I cut it out, the lace is now going to be longer, okay, than the interlining. So I'll cut this out and I will also cut the lace out. So once I cut this out, I will place it under the lace and extend the length of the lace, okay, to my side waist to ankle. I hope you understand what I mean. So I'll go ahead and cut this out and I'll show you guys what next to do. So guys, I have cut out my materials, okay, just like I told you guys. So this is 4-piece here. You can see this is 4-piece here. And this is 2-piece here. Here is also on fold. Okay. Then Here I have 4 pieces, just like I told you, for both the lining and the interlining. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my hairstay. Okay, so I'll cut hairstay for the interlining. This is the hairstay will help it to be firm. Okay, but for the one which we serve as the lining, I'm not going to cut hairstay for it. So I'm going to go ahead and cut hairstay for the fabric which we serve as the interlining. So this piece, I'm going to cut hairstay for it, and I'll also go ahead and iron in the hairstay on it. Then I'll be back to show you guys what's next. So guys, you can see that I have ironed the hairstay on the interlining. Okay, so this is the lining. I want to iron the hairstay on it. I will keep it aside, so when we get to the lining parts we will bring it. So let's work on the main bodies first. So I have ironed the hairstay on the interlining. The next thing I'm going to do is to cut the lace that will be placed on top of it. So I will do that, and I will be back to show you guys what next. So guys, did you see how I placed my interlining on top of this lace fabric? So I want to cut the lace fabric. Okay, so and the length is my side waist to ankle. Okay, so like I told you, the interlining of this lace fabric will be shorter. It's going to be half. Okay, so I want to cut out the skirt part now. So the length is the side waist to ankle. So I'm just going to measure whatever I have here, and I'll bring it down. Okay, so once I bring it down, next thing is just for me to cut this out. Okay, so once I bring it down, I'm going to connect it, and I will cut it out. I hope you understand now. So I'll go ahead and cut it out, and I will do the same thing for the back. So guys, I have cut out the lace, and I have also placed it on top of the interlining. So what I'm going to do is to use my old gum to secure it. So I have a tutorial where I showed you guys how to use your old gum to secure your lace fabric and your interlining together. So you should go and watch it so that you understand what I'm doing. So I'm also going to use my old gum to secure my interlining. So in the interlining of the skirt and the lace, so I'm going to use my old gum to also secure it. So I will do that, and I will be back to show you guys what next. So guys, after using my old gum to hold together the interlining and the lace fabric, this is what we have. I've done it for the main bodies, upper bodies, and I've done it to the skirt part. So we have a full dress here. So the next thing we are going to do is to join it together. So you see how I'm joining it. I'm going to pin it down this way. I'm also going to pin this one down this way. Okay, so if I pin it down, I will go to my sewing machine and sew it down this way and pin it down. So center back to the side back, pin it down and sew it down. Okay, so I'll also get the pieces for the lining. I will set it this way. I set the main bodies. Okay, so I'll set the lining the same way I set the main bodies. So I'll also pin it down like this. So center front to the side front, center front to the side front, center back to the side back, center back to the side back. So I'll go to my sewing machine and sew it down. Okay, so for the skirt part, this is the skirt part. I've also used my own gum to hold together the interlining and the lace fabric. So what I'm going to do is to get the two pieces of the center back. I will pin it down side to side like this. I hope you are seeing what I'm doing. So I'm going to pin it down side to side. I will sew it down with the allowance I added at the side. I will also get the other side. I will pin it down right side facing each other. I will go and sew it with the allowance I added. Okay, then after that I'll be back to show you guys what's next. So for the next part, this is the center front and I also cut it on fold. So all you have to do is to place one on each other so that you can go and turn it at the neckline. So I will place one on top of the other and I will go and turn the neckline. Okay, that is what I'm going to do for this. Then for the back, you cut it two pieces. So you are going to separate it to two pieces like this. So we are going to turn the neckline and also turn the neckline, and yes, that is basically what we are going to do. I'll be back to show you guys what next. So guys, I'm done joining the pieces just like I showed you guys. So I've joined the front piece together and I've also do the same thing for the back. I've also joined the lining pieces together, and for the tulle I've also turned the necklines of both the front and the back. So after turning it, you might want to place a stitch just to hold this net together because it's double. So you have to place a stitch to hold it together so that it won't be moving around. And I've also joined the skirt just like I showed you guys. I've joined it side by side. So guys, the next thing I'm going to do is to pin this together. So did you see the way I set this? That is the way I'm going to pin it. So I'm going to pin it right here and I will go and sew it. So for the back, I'm also going to pin it like this and I will go and sew it down. So for the front, I'm going to pin it. I'll go and sew it. So after that, I'm going to pin the other side like so, and I'll go and sew it. So I'll do that and I'll come back to show you guys what next. As you can see the way I pinned this, I've pinned it properly. The next thing I'm going to do now is to go and sew it. So you should ensure you pin your own very well, okay, before you go to your sewing machine and sew it. So I will do that and I will be right back. So guys, I have joined the net, I've also joined the back, and I've also joined the net of the front, and you can see how beautiful it's looking already. Are you feeling this, guys? So the next thing I'm actually going to do, I will get the lining of the front. So I'm going to use this lining to turn this, but you can see I've already added a curve in this. There is a tutorial on my channel on how to place your bra cup on your lining for this kind of dress. So you should go and check it out if you've not checked it out, so that you understand how I was able to place this cup, okay? So the next thing I'm going to do is to use this lining to turn this, and you can see how I place this. This is how it's going to be when I turn this successfully. So I'm just going to remove one so that I can be able to face one. So I'm just going to flip this over like this, and I'm going to pin it down like this, so you can actually see how I'm holding it. I'm going to quietly pin it down, okay? And once I pin it down, I will sew it. I'll be back to show you guys the outcome. So guys, I'm done turning the lining, and this is how neat and beautiful it's looking on the inside. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is to get my back bodice, and I'll also get the lining for the back. So I'm just going to turn this rough edges so that it will be neat just like the front. So what I'm just going to do is to get this lining piece, and I'll place it, making sure that this net is at the center. Okay, I'm just going to pin it like this. Once I pin it, I'm just going to go to my sewing machine and sew this. Once I sew it, I'm going to turn it, that way this will come out. Okay, I'll do that and I'll come back to show you guys what next. So guys, I'm done turning, using the lining to turn the rough edges of the back. After that, I also top stitch to hold the lining and the fabric together at the zipper side. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to join. I'll join it at the shoulder, and I'll also join it at the side. Okay, so I'll go ahead and do that, and I'll be back to show you guys what's next. Okay, so I'm just going to pin it at the sides. Okay, I'll pin the main bodice first, and I'll also go ahead to pin the lining, and I'm just basically going to join it at the side, join the shoulder, and I'll be back to show you guys what next. So guys, I have pinned the main bodice to the main bodice. So I'm also going to pin the lining to the lining like this. Okay, so this is how it is. I pin the main bodice to the main bodice. I'm going to sew it by the 1 inch allowance I place. Then I'm going to flip the lining like this, and I'll also pin it. So when I pin it, I'm going to sew it down by the 1 inch seam allowance. That way we have an inseam finishing at the side. So I'll go ahead and do that, and I'll be back to show you guys what's next. So guys, this is the skirt part of our dress. I've joined it side by side. So the next thing I'm going to do is to join it at the back where the zipper is going to be. So I'm just going to measure where my zipper is going to stop. So from the waist up till 9 inches, that is where my zipper is going to stop. And this skirt is going to have a slit at the back. So the slit is going to stop at 20 inches. So I'm going to measure from the waist up to 20 inches. So that means this is what I'm sewing. This is where I'm going to go to my sewing machine to join. So once I join it, I'm going to use hemming gum to create the slit at the back, or you can sew it anyhow you can do it. Okay, I'll do that, and I'll be back to show you guys what next. So guys, I'm done sewing it by the side by the same allowance I took, and I also sew the lining just like I showed you guys. Can you see how the inside look? That way we have a neat inseam finishing. So I've also sewed the back dress, and I've also hemmed the slit just like I told you guys. So the next thing I'm going to do is to join both of them at the waist to have a dress. So once I join it at the waist, I'll go ahead and put my zip, fix the hand, and we are done. So guys, if you've not subscribed to my channel, kindly do so. It will really mean a lot to me. Okay, I will finish it up, and I will show you guys the final outlook. Thank you. Bye.